questions. Now see, let us look at the types of questions first. So if you see, this is a question. Okay, this is one type of question. You have the names of researchers on your right, and you have the statements on your left. You just have to find out that which researcher has said each of them. That's one type of question. So take a screenshot of this, guys. Take a screenshot of this type of question. Yeah, done? Done with taking the screenshot? Okay, moving on to this. Questions 32 to 35, true, false, not given kind of questions. Yes, no, not given kind of questions. So please take a screenshot of this as well.
Done.
Okay. Moving on to summarizing questions. A screenshot for this one. Okay. Now, guys, now see, talking about a real-time situation. Okay, here you have combination of questions. You have different types of questions. The first type of question that you have is matching the feature, where you have these list of researchers on your right, and then you have the statements you have to match, right? Then you have true, false, not given kind of questions, and then you have the summarizing question. This summarizing question has a heading. So heading in summary question is very important. Now, which is the type of question that you have to start with? Will you start with the first type of question? I mean, will you start working from question number in the sequence, like will you start working on from question 27? Or will you make a choice and try to find out which is the type of question which would be easier and faster to do just after skimming the entire passage? Yes? Anybody who can give me the answer to this? Would you start with matching the features or true and false or summarizing question, or will you just start, you know, the way it is given? You'll do the matching the features first and the true and
I'm matching the features.
No, true and false questions.
Shiva, what about you?
The last section that fill in the blanks.
Summarizing questions. Correct. Yes, when you have this, see, if you look at the summarizing question, the first important thing which you'll find is fun at work. So they give you the heading, right? So with the heading, you should be able to find out that in which para it lies. So it becomes easier and faster to start with the summarizing question rather than starting with true, false, not given. Why? Because here, again, you know, there's a headache of finding out the location. Right. Again, over here, there's a headache of finding out the location. Did you get it? What I'm trying to say? In summarizing question, they have already given you the heading, right? You know, you already have read the entire passage. You know with what each para talks about. So you exactly know that where you can find this, in which para or in which portion. So it is easier and faster to work on this. I mean, starting on this rather than starting with any other type of question. Is that clear, guys? Manveet, Aparna, is that
yes,
clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Manveet, is that clear? Yes, very good. Great. Okay, let's get started with this. So fun at work. Now we are done with reading every para so we can understand what is this. Fun at work should be
11th para.
Yeah, I think this one. Yes. This
Yes.
para. Okay, so take a screenshot of this para. Yes, right. And you already have the screenshot of the questions. So let us start with the first question. Now see, in these types of questions, the first thing that you have to focus upon is the one word only. This instruction. Okay, it could be one word and or a number, it could be two words and or a number, it could be three words, which means that they are giving you a particular or specific instruction and you basically have to abide by this instruction. So whatever answer or whatever word you're picking up from that portion, that has to be one word. One word. Second thing, do not put any word out of your imagination. Okay, it's not that, you know, you read, you understand something and then, you know, you pick up a word out of, you think of a word out of your imagination and you put it back there. No, not at all. You have to pick up a word which is exactly there and which makes sense. You put in this. Okay. So first read this entire sentence. Aparna, please mute yourself when you're doing it.
Yeah, sure.
So when you're working on this 36th one, do one thing, read the entire sentence. Try to understand the meaning.
Ma'am, I missed the paragraph. Please show once.
Yeah, I'll show it later. Let me just give you the technique first. So first, what you have to do is you have to work on this sentence. You have to understand what is the meaning of this sentence. Okay, and then you have to look out for the most important words. Go back to that part, try to find out those words. You'll get synonyms, or maybe you'll be getting different words with similar meaning. Read that portion and match the idea. Remember, the last step is matching the complete idea. Matching the complete idea is the last step. Okay, all right. Starting with this, TMNS carried out research on staff in an American chain of. So they carried out a research and American chain of. Yes, so American chain of what? See, it's talking about
Chain.
this.
Chain
of
to restaurant.
restaurants in the US,
Restaurants.
but it's just one word, so we have to write restaurants. Okay?
Restaurants.
Take a screenshot, guys. Perfect.
Done.
All right. Work on the questions now. So moving on to 37th one. Do not ever do the mistake of reading the sentence half. That's the biggest blunder that most of the students and the learners do when they are working on fill in the blanks questions, or when they are working on summarizing questions. In any form of fill in the blanks questions, even if the blank comes first, read the complete sentence and understand the meaning and objective of the complete sentence first, and then go for searching the most important words in the sentence. Okay, आधा आधा कभी भी नहीं पढ़ना है. आधा पढ़ोगे तो आधा ही समझ में आएगा. कभी भी word ढूंढ नहीं पाओगे. Okay, all right. Work on this 37, 38, 39, 40, and then we'll discuss. Take 5 minutes and then we'll discuss.
I'm done, ma'am.
Okay, let's discuss the answers, guys. Let's start with 37. They discovered that activities designed for staff to have fun. So activities designed for staff to have fun improved their blank. So there was some activity that they designed for the staff and that improved. Okay. And that management involvement led to lower staff. So management involvement. So something was improved and something was substantially reduced. So let's go back to the para and see. So it says that, yeah, had a favorable impact on performance. Okay, so it improved their performance and manager support, management involvement for fund had a favorable impact in reducing turnover. So turnover, performance and turnover. Is that clear, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
So the answer 37 is performance and 38 is turnover. So see,
Turnover.
what did I do? I'm trying to match the complete idea. With the help of the underlined words in the question, I'm trying to locate the information. And then what I'm doing is I'm comparing or I'm matching the complete idea. The idea of that part of the para or the passage and the idea of the entire sentence, the complete idea of the entire sentence in the question. Okay. All right. The next one. They also found that the activities needed to fit with both the company's plan. They also found that the activities needed to fit with both the companies. So the activities that they had designed that had to cater to two things. One was something related to the company and there was something that was related to the staff. So let us see. See, look at this. The framing of that fund must be carefully aligned with both organizational goals, company goals, and employee characteristics of the staff. Is that clear? All of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, anybody
Yes,
who got a different answer from this? Right. So did you see there's when we say strategy, when we say technique for doing the reading questions, it is not only about knowing the technique or strategy of answering each type of question. The right choice of question type is also important. You have these two different types of questions and which one to start with. If you would have started with the first one, that would have taken a lot of time right away, right at the first. So in order to avoid that, in order to cut upon that, what we are doing is we are starting with something which is easy and faster to answer. See, we just took 5 minutes to work on this, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, what would be the kind of question?
ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, there is a type of question type same as blanks, in which synonyms are given. Ma'am,
Yeah,
I'm
that is
so
that
much
is the
stuck
same.
in that.
That is the same thing. That is also a summarizing question, but it's just that summary with words in the box. So there, what we have to do is we basically need to pick up the appropriate word from the passage or the para, and we are going to match the synonym from the box and put that synonym in the blank. Okay. So there we are
Yes,
not putting
ma'am.
words from the passage, but we are putting the words, the synonyms of those words in the box, and then we are putting it in the blank. The strategy remains the same. The technique
Yes,
remains
ma'am.
the
I have done the same paragraph today, same question types, ma'am. But I didn't found out any correct question. Ma'am, can you please help me with that
yeah.
paragraph also?
Yeah, sure. What you can do is you didn't know the strategy, right? You didn't know the strategy when
Yes,
you were
ma'am.
solving. So try to redo it again and try to apply the strategy and the technique that I taught you just now and see if there's an improvement. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Try to do it, see if there is any improvement, and then we can sit with the parent. Fine.
Okay,
Alright,
ma'am.
you have these two different types of questions now. You have matching the features and you have true false. So now I think we can start with matching the features. It would become easy. Why? Because these list of researchers are there, right? So, the moment you have these proper nouns, names of researchers, years, dates, spread across the entire passage, you can probably circle them or underline them somewhere. Okay, so now it would become easy to find out the names of the researchers and find out which of this was said by each of the researchers. So start doing it for this. I think you need the entire passage. So yeah, take a screenshot of the entire passage. Take a screenshot of this first. Yes. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Okay. Yeah. Now take from this part. Yeah. Then go up and take this part. Yeah. Then take this part. Remember, when you're working on these questions, you are not reading and rereading the passage again. No going back and forth. Just locate the name of the researcher and find out. Okay, in fact, here you don't have to find out also, because we have already read each of the paras, so we know where a researcher is saying what. Clear? So let us start with the first one. So yeah, Manveer, the first one, 27th one. Hotel managers need to know what would encourage good staff to remain. So how would you start? Would you start with the questions or would you start with the researchers? Would you find
Ma'am,
out?
I will start with researchers.
You would start with researchers. Now see, there are two ways of doing it. Okay, you could even start with this. You could even start with this. Sometimes what happens in certain passages, you would find that it's scattered with the researchers. I mean, say Lucas in a passage in first para, Lucas says something, and then Lucas says something in between. Then Lucas says something by the way. Okay, so there it becomes a problem if you're starting with the researchers. There I feel it is better if you can start with the statements. But here particularly, I think every researcher is stating things only at one place, so it becomes easy. Okay, let's look at P. And this one more thing I'll tell you, what is the drawback or what is the downside of starting with the list of researchers. See, all these will get used. You'll have an answer, you'll have the name of the researcher for each of them. But when it comes to this, all the researchers might not get used. Are you getting it, Manveer, what I'm trying to say?
Yes, ma'am.
समझ आ रही है? यहाँ पे सी देखो, यहाँ पे आपके पास 5 स्टेटमेंट्स हैं, बट यहाँ पे आपके पास 6 नेम्स हैं. तो हर कोई रिसर्चर यूज नहीं होगा. तो इफ यू आर स्टार्टिंग with the researcher, then what happens is that there are chances that you're wasting your time on one or two researchers which will not get used with the statement. So I would suggest, and this is my advice, my suggestion. I have seen that it is easy to start with this. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
The words like hotel managers need to know that what would encourage good staff to remain. Right now, already underlining and circling you've done in the passage. So try to find out these words. They should know how to encourage good staff to remain. Right. So quickly, let's go back to the passage and find out. Just the scientist area. Don't have to read everything. Only the areas where the scientists are mentioned. Yeah. Yeah. This implies that it is beneficial for hotel managers to understand what practices are most favorable to increase employee satisfaction and retention. Clear? So this was said by E and S. Is that clear, all of you? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Encourage.
Yes,
What would
ma'am.
encourage an employee to stay? And if you compare the complete meaning, if you match the complete idea, you will see this implies that it is beneficial for hotel managers to understand what practices are most favorable to increase employee satisfaction and retention. Clear? Okay, this is how you have to work on these questions. Take 5 minutes and work on these questions, and then we will discuss it. All right? Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Done, guys? Can we discuss? Okay, let's work on 28th one. The actions of managers may take staff feel they shouldn't move to a different employer. So the actions of managers, which means management, may make staff feel they shouldn't move to a different employer. So it's talking about management involvement, the actions of managers or hotel managers. So this is E. Okay. What should be the answer for 28th one? 28, guys. What should be the answer for 28?
I think it's option D, ma'am.
Where do you get this? Where do you get this?
Because in para 5, I think it's in para 5,
Yeah, when managers provide recognition
managers approaches and to
See,
work.
it says very clearly over here. Feel more obligated
to feel obliged to stay with the company. So
you are you feel obligated, you have that obligation that no, I'll stay with the company, which means you'll not move to another company. Okay, so see how important it is to read the entire portion. I mean that part, this from here to here, and match the complete idea. If you just go by words, won't help. You have to read these 2-3 lines and then match the whole idea. Okay, all right. Moving on to Moving on to 29th one. Little is done in the hospitality industry to help workers improve their skills. So little is done, which means basically nothing is done to help workers improve their skills. Okay. Mandeep, what should be the answer for this? 29.
Actually, I marked it D for the 30th one. Can you please?
No. One researcher can get repeated. One researcher can get repeated. I'm asking you about 29.
Okay.
One researcher can get repeated. That's why I said that, if you start right away from the list of researchers, you might end up, wasting a lot of time on the researcher who probably would have made none of the statements. Okay. Yeah. Little is done in the hospitality industry to help workers improve their skills. Anybody? Little is done to improve the skills. So let's see. So talking about concern. So this is how, the idea, the central idea of the para helps. So now we have the, when we did the skimming of the entire passage, we made a note of the idea of every para, right? So from there, we can probably, identify, okay, which para or which part of the para is talking about that, nothing is done to improve the skills.
Ma'am, P. Pfeffer is answer, I think.
Okay. Anybody else who has a different answer to this?
No, ma'am, the same thing.
Same thing? Okay. Aparna, what about you? Same thing? Yeah. See, I'll tell you one thing. If you look at here, how are we understanding this? See, we are understanding by here. See, it says P. Pfeffer emphasizes that in order to succeed, must make investment in HRM to allow them to acquire employees who possess better skills and capabilities than their competitors. Right? See, it says, the hospitality industry has historically been dominated by underdeveloped HR practices. But how do you say that little has been done to improve the skill of the workers? Who says this? Little has been done to improve the skill of the workers. Little has been done to improve the skill of the workers. Who says this?
ma'am, I said about the option B.
B. Which is that?
I mean the Lucas.
Lucas. Okay. Why did you say Lucas? Okay, we are moving on. We are not getting stuck. Maybe we can come back to that. So in reading, again, a global technique is you're moving on. You're not getting stuck. If you're confused or not certain or not being able to find out the answer for a particular question, then move on. Do not get stuck. Okay. All right. 30th one. Staff are less likely to change jobs if cooperation is encouraged. If cooperation.
Ma'am, D.
Okay. Anybody else who has a different answer? Cooperation. Here the keyword is cooperation. Anybody else who has a different answer to this? No?
Actually, I didn't get the answer, ma'am.
You didn't get the answer.
And get me satisfied. Staff are less likely to change their work.
Yeah, you're saying motivate employees to work together, remove obstacles. Yeah, this should be the answer. This, I think it's Michelle. Providing support to employees gives them the confidence to perform their jobs better and motivation to stay with the organization. We say cooperation. When we say cooperation, that basically means that you are lending your support. Cooperation, lending the hand of support. So I think it should be Michelle. This one. See, it says, right? Providing support to employees gives them the confidence to perform their jobs better and the motivation to stay.
Ma'am, Michelle is not in the list.
Okay, we don't have Michelle on the list. Yeah, in that case, we can go for T. Okay. Yeah. Anybody else who says this? No, right? Lucas, no. Has Lucas said anything about this? No. So this is where your idea of the para helps you. So every para has an idea. So if you can match with the idea that you're getting first time when you're reading the para, that helps. Okay, 31st one. Dissatisfaction with pay is not the only reason why hospitality workers change jobs. Dissatisfaction with pay. Yeah, who said this? I think here somewhere with salary, right? This one, there is a strong link between the perceptions of employees and particular factors of their work environment that are separate from the work itself, including company policies, salary, and vacations. This one, yeah. Dissatisfaction with pay is not the only reason.
It's option C, ma'am. It's more what does it talk?
Where do you get the textual evidence? Can you give me the textual evidence?
So the reduction in dissatisfaction. That one. This para, ma'am, in this one. Hence, Burke proposed that people have two major needs students, and in the last sentence it says that this significantly though just
But then where
does not need to satisfy, but there is a reduction in dissatisfaction.
But where is it written that dissatisfaction with pay is not the only reason? You are just going by the words. They have mentioned the word dissatisfaction, so you're going, no. You have to match the complete idea. The question says that dissatisfaction with the pay, dissatisfaction with pay is not the only reason. This para is definitely talking about dissatisfaction, but then where has it mentioned that, it is saying that dissatisfaction with the pay is not the only reason? Anybody? I think this should be the answer. I mean, here, do we have constant? Let's see. Malthus and theory. So, okay, Malthus. Where is Malthus here? dissatisfaction with the pay. There should be a textual evidence. Can you find out the textual evidence? Yeah, see, got it. Among the many cited reasons are low compensation, inadequate benefits, poor working conditions, and compromised employee morale. Yeah. Yes, low compensation. So low compensation is not the only reason. Okay, inadequate benefits, poor working conditions, compromised employee morale and attitudes, all these also are the contributing factors or that attribute to lower employee, higher employee. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, see. Okay, what about this? Little is done in the hospitality industry to help workers improve their skills. Okay, all of you, you're saying A. Improving their skills, skills.
What would be, ma'am? Loca.
Better skills and capabilities, third line.
Oh, again, you're just going by words. This portion is saying that they should be acquiring employees who possess better skills and capabilities than their competitors. But where is it mentioning that, little is done to improve their skills? The question is not that, you are hiring employees or you're acquiring employees who are having better skills or capabilities, right? The question is, the question is that, hiring, not doing anything or doing very little. I think Lucas could be.
Ma'am, in Lucas, there's a substance of HRM practice does not approve designed to foster the constructive relations with the employee to represent
see, it says over
that
here
involves
full
developing
potential of people.
full potential of people, even though
Correct.
employed side broadly.
Yes, full potential of people. I think this can be full potential of people. So the managerial practices and the managerial approach is not enough. It's not adequate to draw out the full potential of an employee. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I think Lucas. Okay. All right. So this is. So always remember, if you're getting confused, if you're not certain, please focus on a textual evidence. And when I say textual evidence, not single words. Okay. Individual words are important. They are very important to locate the piece of information. You can use those individual words to locate the piece of information, but after you are locating the piece of information in the para and the passage, to find out the answer, you have to read that portion and match the meaning of that with the meaning of the statements. Okay, like Shiva just said, better skills. No, the question is not asking you about, hiring better skills and competencies. No, it's saying that little is done to help workers improve their skills. So that's the idea. All right, moving on. Okay, I'm closing this room and starting another one. We'll work on the last set of questions if true false not true. Okay. Join with the same link, guys.